of Famer Lawrence Taylor, live from New York City at GMFB. Don't you go anywhere. I usually don't tell kids to skip school. I usually don't tell people to skip work.
Yeah.
Today's the day.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead. Wow. Nate said it's cool.
You on with today, Nate.
Lawrence Taylor, LT is here.
Ferris Bueller's all around, but there were highlights from last night's NFC East battle in Philly. Kyle, take it away.
Let's go to that town of Philadelphia. It's a fight town, of course. And look at some of the principals coming out of the locker room. Eli Manning is going to fight. He's there. He battled. He walks onto the field trying to run it. Look at that. The brothers there. Peyton's up in a box and everything. And here we go. Second quarter, first play of the quarter. Darius Slayton, he's gone. The rookie, War Eagle, touchdown. Give me an Eli shot. No, give me a Peyton shot. I'll take anybody. All the Mannings had tonight. Now, hold on. This is not the same play. It's the same quarter, though. And it's the same thrower and the same catcher. Darius Slayton again. Touchdown, lightning strikes twice. He would say after the game, Slayton, he was very frustrated because they lost. But we have jubilation right now. Storybook ending. That Eagles fan not feeling it. Not feeling this either. Watch this. That's Alshon Jeffrey. They're already down. He comes off non-contact. He would leave on a cart. Tough blow. Alshon's had a tough season with that. That's not it. Lane Johnson, watch his left angle, or don't. Lane Johnson leaves on a cart. He's off. And on a night when Miles Sanders was also having problems, and yet 17-10, the Eagles defense buckles down, and Carson Wentz starts dealing. Dallas Goedert. At least one Dallas had a good night. Goedert inside the 15, knocking on the door from the 2-yard line. Who do you go to? Zach Ertz, who was everywhere, who was unguardable. Fantastic 2-yard touchdown. So, folks, we're tied at 17. We're going to overtime. Eagles win the toss. Eli has to sit there and watch it. They go right down. It's not the same play. 2-yard line. That's it. Ertz, walk off. And as Joe Test said, eat that W, Philly. And they did. And eat that one, Dallas Cowboys, wherever you are. Eli poetically runs into the darkness. Will he ever start another football game in the NFL? We do not know. But he lost this one. The Giants have lost 9 in a row, a franchise record. However, more importantly, the Eagles are alive. They are there with the Cowboys. And here's quarterback Carson Wentz on the team's fortitude. Nice. I bet he's wearing camo.
It's big for me and for all these guys. And, you know, the emotional roller coaster of the day, obviously realizing how poor we were in the first half and just how it kind of just springboarded us in the second half. And we just made plays and kept making plays and winning late in overtime like that's been a while. Shoot, I don't think I've had an overtime win. It was a lot of fun.
Got the full camo treatment, and here's your NFC playoff picture as it stands. The Eagles pulling into a tie with the Cowboys for the NFC East lead. The Cowboys, of course, hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. The Giants would have the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. If the season ended today, guys, the Bengals would pick first overall. We'll get to Eli Manning, of course, in just a moment. But let's start with these Eagles who are very much alive, tied at the top. Philly coming back from a 14-point second-half deficit to win in overtime. Nate, what did this Eagles win show you about the resilience of this team?
That's it. It's the resilience. You know, I was listening to Booger talk before halftime as the team was getting showered with boos. He said, Peterson better give the best halftime speech ever.
Okay.
You know what he did? Because after that first half that the Giants had, they gave up 17 points, 226 yards. They held the Giants' offense to 29 yards. That defense stepped up big, and I believe he went in there and said, listen, I don't care what's going on with offense. I don't care what guys are injured. I don't care who's dropping balls. Defense, if you want to win this game, you can. We're talking about 3-and-outs, forcing punts. After Slayton went off, it seemed like Peterson went to that D and said, I need you guys to hold us down, and that's exactly what they did. It was that defense. Of course, the offense stepped up big. That's how they closed it out with Ertz. But that defense stepped up because in the beginning of the game, I thought that Eli was kind of like how we joked around.
That's it.
Eli's going to go for 500 yards and throw for 6 TDs. Yeah. I think the defense came to grips and said, you know what, let's shut down this for the Giants.
It was a huge statement by the Eagles. And, I don't think the highlights told the story of just how down they were. They go into halftime down 17-3, crowd's booing, it's pouring rain. They haven't won in, it feels like, since their bye week, which they haven't. Everything is at the absolute worst. This is the nadir of their season. And then you lose Jeffrey, you lose Miles Sanders, you're already without Lane Johnson because he got hurt, you're already without Aguilar and obviously the running back Jordan Howard. They had Josh McCown working out on the sideline as a wide receiver.
I saw that.
He was doing sprints trying to get it going because Arcega-Whiteside goes out. And then Wentz says, you know what? Boston Scott, Dallas Goedert,
Greg Ward.
Greg Ward, who was a quarterback at Houston. We're going to rely on all of these guys who are all on the practice squad.
Okay, Josh Perkins.
Josh
Let's go.
Perkins, the big tight end, Jay Perk. They find a way to get it done. And, say what you want about, they needed it. It was a big spot by Wentz because yesterday we came on and we're like, well, Tom Brady has no weapons. Tom Brady is throwing to Jacoby Myers. This is a different story than even that. And for Wentz to find a way when everyone was ready. If they lost this game, this was the Carson Wentz pity party show. Instead, it's the Carson Wentz got it done show. Maybe this is what they needed to dig out of this thing and really make a surge here towards January.
McCown, a 40-year-old quarterback, was going to go in at wide receiver. He was having to switch helmets because you can't go on with 2 radios at the same time. I texted McCown this morning. I asked him about it. He was ready. Like, he had routes, and he planned to score. He was going to go in. That's how bad it was.
He had routes?
He had routes.
Like there's
but McCown's done it before. I mean, he will go. Imagine being a Cowboys fan watching that game last night and screaming for Eli Manning so that your 6-7 team could win the NFC East. It was wild, and I've said this for a few weeks now. You can only give the Eagles so many shots to answer the count and get off the canvas and wipe off the gloves and walk towards them. And they did. And they have Washington next week, who they can beat. And they have Dallas the week after that, who anyone can beat. Like, the Giants should have killed Philly last night, up 14-0, and they didn't. They're alive. And if I'm Dallas, I'm terrified.
I've been to Philly twice this year with Game Day Morning. The tailgates, talking to the Philly fans. And it has been a lot of excuses for Carson Wentz, a lot of everybody's injured. What can we do? Injury after injury. And then the second I say, look what San Francisco's been dealing with. They're getting it done. They have nothing to say to that. Yesterday was the first time this season that they weren't focused on what they were missing and who wasn't there, and they pulled it all together and made a sandwich out of whatever's left in the refrigerator. And it looked good, and it worked. And Miles Sanders asked what happened in the second half, and he pointed to Carson Wentz's leadership. That's exactly what I need to see. Yesterday, I saw a little fight. Before the strikes, I was like, does anybody want to win the NFC East?
It's fair.
Anybody actually want to win the division? And it looks like the Eagles sort of want to.
Especially after getting punched in the face in the first half. I mean, the defense, all they've been hearing about is their secondary is terrible. And then Eli Manning is torching their secondary, and all of a sudden they shut them out in the second half. They showed the resilience. It's not dog mask time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing this.
They also started the second half, and their first drive was a punt. Like, it's not like they came out of the locker room. Right? It was.
I think they had 6 straight 3-and-outs last night. I mean, they're not a great team by no stretch.
And it's a dreadful watch watching the Eagles play sometimes. Like, it is a grueling, grueling watch. But at the end of the day, they get the win, and they're tied. And if they win in another week after the Redskins game, they're playing in the playoffs.
And you guys know me here on the show. I just stick up for the players when it comes to fans booing. Even yesterday, I was talking to the camera, speaking to the Patriots fans, saying it's ridiculous that you guys are booing. But I was sitting at home, and I almost wanted to boo the camera. I was
I've been there, man.
What is going on with this Eagles team? They didn't have any juice. You're talking Eli at this age, coming off the bench and having more excitement with the Giants offense than anybody on that Eagles roster. But I'm glad that they hit the reset button and they controlled the rest of the game, which is why they got the victory.
They adjusted. The Giants did not in the second half. What do we got on Eli? We'll get to him, of course, throughout the show. We'll show you more.
He looked good in that first half.
Picture.
Yeah, that was fun.
He did look good. His whole family was in the house. We'll tell you everything you need to know. We'll hear from Eli a little bit later. But elsewhere in the NFC, can the Vikings hang on to the number 6 seed for the final 3?
Yeah, I think they can.
They've got a couple big ones in the division coming up.
No fear of a collapse out of you, Kyle.
That's the highest-rated quarterback of the year.
Hey.
Fire.
And believe it or not, they're not on fire, but the Patriots will be playing on Wild Card Weekend.
It's rare.
What?
Usually they get that bye.
What if they lose on Wild Card Weekend? That would be
Something. That's how the Ravens beat them.